Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. The last two times we've done this over Zoom, so it feels really good to see you in person. I want to, I'll definitely say this. The product team here, where are you guys? Raise your hands. Yeah, the product team here loves to meet you in person. So big shout out to them. They're going to be by the 5-star bar. Please come to us, provide your feedback, tell us what we're doing right, tell us what we're doing wrong. We love to hear from you in person because we don't get to do that often, right? Especially not in the last 2 years. Bigger shout out to our marketing team for holding this event in Nashville. It's funny because I've been here 6 times and never been in the city. This is the first time I got to be in the city. Of course, I missed out watching Miranda Lambert in person like Rebecca did, but for those of you who did, that's the magic of being in Nashville live. So we're excited to be here. We're going to be talking through a couple of items here. But before that, Phil, how do you feel?
I can't believe they let 2 product nerds get 90 minutes at the very beginning of this, and I'm pretty excited about it. I got to shout out my team too. I run product marketing. They're also at the 5-star bar. And basically everything you're going to see that I get to talk about, they created these concepts. It's going to be hopefully very informational and also a lot of fun. I also want to thank Pranav. I don't know if you guys know this, but he became our chief product officer in the last year, so congratulations to you.
Thanks.
About 4.5 years ago, I came to Reputation, and I walked in, and I was like, I'm going to be the best employee at this company. I know it. And I met with Pranav, and I was like, I'm going to be the second best employee at this company.
Not true.
So let's dive into the content. We're going to talk about getting the complete picture. And this is the risk of having nerds present at your keynote. I'm going to start by literally defining words for you. It's going to be a thrill. So it's really important to know that we think about feedback in this way. All feedback, no matter where it comes from, is either public or private. Public literally means I can go out there and find it, access it at any point in time. Private means it's private, one-to-one, between me and the business that I'm working with. All feedback is also solicited. The business asked me to tell them what's going on in a channel. Or unsolicited. I go out and say whatever I want, wherever I want. And where it gets fun is if you just throw examples of different types of feedback into this, you can kind of see that it really isn't even as black and white or as clear as like one channel falls into one category anymore. It's all happening, right? Whether it's direct message or social or reviews or surveys or whatever, there's a little bit of solicitation, there's a little or maybe a lot of unsolicitation, and it's happening across public and private channels. And to us, the key to how we think about things is how do you manage all this stuff in a way that's meaningful and in a way that you can learn from it, and most importantly, take action on it. You're going to see a lot of kind of consumer journey concepts throughout the day today, and this is a different one than even what Joe showed before, but it's messy for a reason. Let me explain it. This is just buying a car, right? I use that as an example, but everyone's journey is probably a little bit different. Above the journey, these are all the places that a consumer will go to inform the decision they're making, right? And it changes as they go across their path, and the channels are shifting, and you might look at this and you might say, ooh, am I proud of what shows up in reviews? Am I proud of what shows up in social? Am I proud of what shows up on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Below the map, this is where you might be having conversations. You'll have interactions with your customers. And again, this time there's some private channels thrown into the mix, there's public channels, and depending on where you're at in this journey, it changes. So basically the same thing I just said to the previous slide. There's a lot going on. How do we manage it? How do we learn from it? How do we figure out what actions are going to be the most impactful so that we can grow from it? And what we are really trying to do and what we think we're able to do really well is take that mess and answer 3 key questions. And these are the 3 topics we're going to dig into for the rest of this presentation. Question number 1 is, how am I doing? Pretty straightforward. Question number 2, how are my competitors doing? What are they up to? Do people like it? How does it impact me? All that. Question number 3, what should I do about it? Every single one of these things I go to, there's so much data, we don't take enough action, there's so much data overload. We also recognize that that's something we need to be better at helping with, and we're going to talk about how we're doing that. So let's start with thing number one. How am I doing? How am I doing?
You're doing really well.
So this is literally about learning more, and I use the word more because everyone in this room, you're here, you have some form of a customer experience program. You're looking at feedback, you're doing things with it, right? We want to learn more from customer feedback. And to put it really simple, we encourage everyone to put all of their private and all of their public feedback together in one single place, right? And we've been doing this for a while. Of course, we have a survey solution, a review solution, a social solution, a direct messaging solution. But when you think about insights, let me give you just a simple use case. This comes from customer data. In their particular case, 60% of the feedback we had was private. 40% of the feedback was public. By the way, this varies. Depending on what industry you're in or your business or your strategy, we've seen it fluctuate in any direction. But there's always a significant amount of feedback in each bucket. It's never like 99% of my feedback's private. It's not reality. So when you study this, if you were to just look at any one of these channels in isolation, there's going to be themes that come from it. The left-hand side of this is the negative themes that came just from private feedback. And really, it's just surveys in this case. And this is good, right? We all do this. We look at our survey results and we say, we're follow-up. Follow-up's a real problem. We need to take action. We need to fix this. However, what I'm going to challenge everyone to think about is if you're not looking at the whole picture, when we put all feedback together, follow-up really wasn't that important relative to the other categories. Basically, themes change. And we need to make sure that when we're looking at that entire picture, we start to recognize, that theme got more prevalent. That theme dropped off, and there's brand new themes that we would have never known about if we just looked at one channel in isolation. And now we need to have the conversations around how do we operationalize this? How do we take action on these types of things? This is what we're trying to do. And when I say how am I doing, answering that questions, this is the intent. So real quick, if we can roll the video, we're going to just do a quick view of the platform just so you get an idea of what this looks like in real life when you're working with reputation today. So here's the platform. All this feedback data, you saw social reviews, surveys, listings data, pumps into it. We're breaking it down by category. We're telling you what your customers are talking about. We're giving you location level views, leaderboards, category, subcategory. Ultimately, what happens is you're going to find out, I have this weakness. I want to dig into it. We're going to let you know which one of your locations or which aspect of your business is predominantly getting the majority of that feedback. We're going to give you all the verbatims across all of that feedback. And most importantly, we're going to allow you to do things like create actions. Basically tell whoever it is that's responsible for, in this example, if you were following, it was one location that had a really bad nursing sentiment score across their feedback. I can create an action for that person. Dig into this. Tell me why this is happening. Is it a staffing issue? Is it a process issue? And you can create action plans. You can literally engage with that group so that they solve whatever that problem is. And to us, this is what we can do today, and we think it's powerful, and we sure encourage you to do this, but we think there's a lot more that we're going to be able to do. And I'm going to hand it off to Pranav now to go over exactly what we're doing in that, right? And actually, let's pick one category.
Sure.
We can dig into, and hopefully it's one that none of our customers or prospects here in the crowd have ever had to deal with us. Let's talk about sales pressure.
No, that never happens. So look, one, I was just impressed with how you maintain the correction within your ticket creation flow. You didn't take that out, so major kudos on that part, Phil. All right, so what Phil was referring to was our Experience Insights offering. If you've used our Experience Insights product, what that does is it brings in reviews, surveys, all sorts of feedback like Facebook recommendations into a single place and helps you make sense of all those comments. Right? There are a lot of customers, some who have used our product, some who haven't. The biggest benefit of that is we neatly structure out strengths and weaknesses in all your data points. Where are you excelling? Where are you weak at? Why is that important? Because in some scenarios, you're going to have prospects who leave reviews who would never do a survey because they haven't purchased from you. So speaking about sales pressure, that is why it becomes important for us to monitor both solicited, unsolicited, private, and public feedback so that you get a point like this. But what is a question that anyone would ask?
When is sales pressure happening throughout my customer's
That's
journey?
right. So Joe and Phil touched about the customer journey. The journey is not a point in time. The journey traverses through multiple stages that this caterpillar is interestingly showing us. There is awareness, you visit a dealer in the case of automotive, you take a test drive, you like the vehicle, you get into the finance discussions, you purchase the vehicle, and of course, once you come back for service, you decide you want to become an advocate or you would never come back here. So that journey is multifaceted. What you saw on the previous slide was a single point in time where we actually highlight what is happening at an aggregate level. So when the product team was thinking about this, we were thinking, what do we do in order to help customers like you out? And the answer was pretty simple. Let's take this journey, let's take the way consumers are actually behaving and interacting with the platform, and let's showcase that as part of our product. So you can see, we've taken the actual journey and we have laid that out. In an instant, you're now able to see how you're performing across the journey. Now, of course, this is for automotive. The same thing would apply for healthcare. The same thing would apply for property management. We would have a place in the application where your exact journey would be laid out. The benefit? Instantly you get to know, hey, finance is a weakness. We need to fix our finance process. But to answer Phil's question, where is sales pressure an actual problem? I can actually look into weaknesses and find out that sales pressure is an issue when somebody visits the dealership, but it's also an issue during the finance process. We would have never uncovered that within the finance discussion, pressure comes up as the biggest weakness. And oh, by the way, I gave you 2 more weaknesses where typically, if you were just looking at it linearly, you would never know that this was indeed a weakness. Now, the big point to this is something that a lot of you already use today. So if I were to drill down, you would be able to look at what drives these conversations, like what are the bottom 30 locations. So I was interested in wait time at the dealership when somebody visits. All I need to do is drill into wait time, and it brings me the bottom 30 locations. I can look at them, I can come back, I can even look at all the feedback, both private, public, solicited, and unsolicited, and understand why are we making people wait at the dealership? And you might realize, you know what, that's not a big problem. Sales pressure is. The big thing for us when we thought about this product is the fact that all of you have typically done some sort of journey work already. So what we want to do is we want to bring some of that work into the platform so that when your CEO asks, well, what are we doing really well? You can highlight what you're doing really well, and more importantly, when he asks, what are we doing poorly? You can actually go back to data and refer to what we are doing poorly and drive actions out of it.
And Pranav, to put it really simply, today, we'd tell you sales pressure was an issue. Tomorrow, we want to tell you sales pressure is an issue at this point and this point in the consumer journey. It's a big difference when you think about it that way, because there's different employees that are dealing with customers in that point in the journey, and there might be different things. There are definitely different things you're going to want to take action on.
That's right. So look, guys, we're excited about this. This is going to be available towards the end of the year in the platform. Like with any other product that we do, we're going to release this in a beta format, and we invite you to, whenever it's available in beta, to participate in this. Rajrupa Nandi, the product leader for Insights, is here. You can reach out to her during the breakouts and ask her more questions. But again, don't hear from the product team alone. I want you guys to talk to a customer who's actually using our product to bring together solicited and unsolicited feedback, private and public feedback. I want to have Joe Fuca, our CEO, and Marija, the VP of Patient Experience at Ascension Health, to talk about what she has been doing by bringing together all of that data into a single platform and leveraging the platform to understand where the patient journey is at. Joe, come on.